Lafayette. News from where you live.
Good afternoon, I'm Trevor Peters. We have a lot to get to this midday. First, we start with breaking news. A crash on southbound Interstate 65 in Tippecanoe County has injured 4 people, and traffic is moving slow right now. According to Indiana State Police, a semi and a vehicle are involved. The call came in after 10 a.m. at the 177 mile marker. That's between State Road 25 and the State Road 43 exits. This was the scene about 45 minutes ago. State police say traffic in the southbound lanes is pretty backed up. Troopers were unable to say how long they would be on the scene for. The severity of the injuries was also unavailable. We expect to learn more updates from ISP later today. We will post those on air and on WLFI.com. New information on a story we brought you as breaking news this morning. A Rossville High School assistant principal and a 25-year-old woman were injured in a head-on crash on Veterans Memorial Parkway this morning. The road is now back open. Lafayette police say the woman, identified as Erin Schneider, is in critical condition. William Smith, the assistant principal, has non-life-threatening injuries. Both were taken to the hospital. The crash closed Veterans Memorial Parkway between Concord Road and Sagamore Parkway around 6:40 this morning. Police say one of the cars crossed the center line. A reminder, Tippecanoe County spring property taxes are due tonight by midnight. Payments can be made online, by mail, or in the treasurer's office. You can also drop them off at the box on North 3rd Street or at Staley Credit Union on Union Street. The treasurer's office is open until 4:30 this afternoon. New at noon, if you've taken a stroll down State Street in West Lafayette, you may have noticed a new arch on campus. The $1.9 million arch is finally completed ahead of schedule. In fact, check it out. It stands at the corner of State and Grant Streets, right at the entrance of the Memorial Union. The corner used to be home to a stone marker made to honor former Dean of Students Beverly Stone. Today, a plaque explaining the history of the location and Stone is displayed. It's a pretty cool photo op for spring graduates. And speaking about graduation, we are 3 hours away from the start of one of those commencement ceremonies. News 18's Isabella Caruso is live at those brand new arches with information about this weekend's commencements. Hi, Isabella.
Yeah, the first of 6 ceremonies will take place at Elliott Hall of Music today at 3 p.m. But before that, you can see behind me that graduates are lining up to take their pictures. The line just keeps growing, and campus officials are making sure to prepare for the crowd that graduation brings, and so are local businesses. With Purdue's enrollment increasing each year, weekends like this are only getting busier. Scotty's Brewhouse manager Brian Short says he's ready for the crowd. The restaurant changes its usual policies to accommodate the crowds, such as not accepting reservations for this weekend. He told me he sees bigger crowds during football season rather than on graduation weekends.
Yes, we've been through this a few times, yes. We run a full kitchen staff with some extra people in there so we can handle the extra business.
I reached out to several hotels near campus as well, and hotel officials told me that starting Thursday and going until Monday, there are no rooms left. And if you will be attending any of this weekend's ceremonies, here's some information on parking. For those going to today's 3 p.m. commencement, the designated parking area will be at the North Stadium lot. That's the lot next to Ross-Ade Stadium right off of Cherry Lane, and there will be shuttles for everyone to Elliott Hall from that lot. Now, for all other ceremonies, university parking garages will be the designated parking spots. There are 6 garages. The nearest ones to Elliott Hall of Music are University Street, Northwestern Avenue, and Grant Street parking garages. McCutcheon Drive, Harrison Street, and Wood Street garages will also be available. Handicap parking is available on the bottom 2 floors of the University Street garage, and there will be shuttles for those who need it from that garage to Elliott Hall. Now, there is a website where you can live stream all of the ceremonies this weekend, and we do have that linked on our website, WLFI.com. Just click on this story. Reporting live at Purdue University, Isabella Caruso for News 18.
Isabella, thank you very much. Neighbors on Lafayette's south side are left confused after another month without the promised Needler's Fresh Market grocery store. Now, those behind the grocery stores say they're not sure when they'll be opening. The Ohio-based grocery chain bought the Teal Road building from Marsh when it closed more than 2 years ago. We've been reaching out to Needler's since the end of April, the date they most recently announced as their Target opening. We were finally able to get a response that said in part, quote, "We were hopeful to be able to open the store in April, but we have had to postpone due to other projects that have taken more resources than expected, both personnel and financial resources. But people in the community say they are tired of waiting."
It makes you wonder about their credibility, that's for sure. You know, if this is what they do as far as their opening day, then what kind of service are they going to give you?
News 18 will continue to follow the store's progress and let you know if we hear an opening date. The Tippecanoe School Corporation is using some of its $94 million bond project bonds to update McCutcheon High School. $28 million is being spent on improving safety and updating the auditorium, science labs, and swimming pool. Superintendent Scott Handback says the whole bond project is a long time coming for TSC. It will be used for projects at Harrison, Battleground, and McCutcheon. He's thankful the vision is finally coming to fruition.
This much needed renovations, it's going to bring our facility in the standards that we expect to, really function in the educational environment that we want to.
Handback says a construction schedule should be released soon. New this midday, United States Director of Intelligence Dan Coats will return home to Indiana next week to speak at Purdue University. He is the latest notable speaker to visit campus as part of Purdue's Ideas Festival for the 150th anniversary. Coats previously served Indiana as a congressman and later as a U.S. senator. His speech is titled, "What If Artificial Intelligence Wages War?" It will focus on the challenges to national security. The event is Tuesday and is free to the public. It will happen at the Buchanan Room in Ross-Ade Stadium. Coats will speak at 2 p.m. Registration is required, and you can do so on WLFI.com. The United States-China trade war escalated overnight, and as Natalie Brand reports, the U.S. raised tariffs on billions of dollars worth of items made in China but sold in the United States.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer greeted Chinese negotiators for another round of trade talks this morning. Overnight, the U.S. raised tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese-made goods from 10% to 25%. The president tweeting, "Tariffs will make our country much stronger, not weaker. Just sit back and watch." In the meantime, China should not renegotiate deals with the U.S. at the last minute.
We were getting very close to a deal, then they started to renegotiate the deal. We can't have that. We can't have that.
If no deal can be reached, then President Trump says he's prepared to put a 25% tariff on another $325 billion worth of Chinese-made goods that would impact everything China ships to the U.S.
China says it will respond with countermeasures, likely higher tariffs on U.S.-made goods. And while Beijing has not announced which products could be targeted, U.S. farmers already being impacted by trade tensions could be hit even harder.
Doug Onstad is a farmer in Polk County, Iowa. He says some of his neighbors say they will have to sell their farms if the U.S. and China can't agree to a deal.
There's a lot of guys that, their brokers have been telling them to hang on, and this thing's going to get better when the deal gets done.
The new tariffs on Chinese goods could be passed on to consumers if they remain in effect for an extended period of time. But President Trump says that may not be a bad thing.
Businesses will pour back into our country, so instead of making the product, it'll be the old-fashioned way, the way we used to do it. We made our own product.
The president tweeted to manufacturers this morning saying, "Build your products in the United States, and there are no tariffs." Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The Consumer Price Index released Friday morning showed a modest increase in prices Americans pay, led by rising costs for gasoline, rent, and healthcare costs. However, inflation remains tame. A recent investigation has uncovered that some items sold on Amazon actually contain lead. How much was found and what Amazon's doing to stop it? Just